Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are stepping right into the high-stakes reality of the digital creator economy. We often think of our social media feeds as just reflections of our personal tastes, right? Like a mirror showing us exactly what we want to see. But behind the screen, there is a massive, invisible architecture at work. We're talking about an algorithmic machine designed to maximize your engagement at absolutely any cost. It's a system transforming ordinary lives into massive digital empires, and sometimes tearing them down just as quickly. So let's dive into how completely innocent content becomes weaponized, and how the endless pursuit of the ultimate viral moment is literally reshaping the cultural and legal landscape of an entire nation.
3 women, 3 million followers, 3 completely different stories about exactly the same problem. This isn't just about individual choices, it's about a structural reality that dictates who gets seen, who gets paid, and ultimately who gets punished in the modern attention economy. To truly understand the sheer scale of this systemic breakdown, we have to look closely at the human stakes before we zoom out to the underlying code. Act 1. The symptoms. How innocent content becomes algorithmically weaponized. The evolutions we are about to look at aren't just random accidents, they're algorithmic inevitabilities. Let's take our first case study, Muskan Karia. Back in 2018, she was just working a standard 9-to-5 job in Thane. When the pandemic hit, she pivoted to content creation, branding herself as India's biggest snack explorer. And it started great. She built this really wholesome following with innocent food reviews and a catchy hook, "I bet you didn't know this." But then, her content shifted. She figured out that adding subtle sexual innuendos, using double meanings like crushing oranges or sweet kulfi, triggered unusually high view counts. She wasn't just making videos anymore. She was actively manipulating the platform's engagement loop, using a strict formula: a 3-second hook, vibrant expressions, and provocative undertones.
And the financial reward for that pivot? Absolutely staggering. That algorithmic adaptation resulted in an estimated monthly income of 20 to 25 lakh rupees. And here's the kicker. The bulk of this stupendous income doesn't even come from casual scrollers. It comes directly from exclusive content subscriptions. She has over 5,000 fans paying 390 rupees every single month for access to what sources describe as thirst trap content. The algorithm heavily rewarded her transition from an innocent snack reviewer to a provocative digital persona.
Now, while Muskan followed the path of innuendo, Kajal Pandey represents what analysts call the comedy-to-controversy pipeline. Kajal is a creator from Lucknow, and her early standard lifestyle content was, relatively normal. It peaked around 66,000 views. But in the attention economy, normalcy is algorithmically invisible. To spike her engagement, Kajal pivoted hard into dark humor. She started mixing double-meaning jokes with highly taboo subjects, including things as sensitive as physical molestation. This extreme content basically acts as a defense mechanism, a wrapper to guarantee high resharing and engagement. And it worked. It built her an empire of 1 million followers. But it also completely blurred the line between her digital persona and her reality, bringing on intense public scrutiny and real-world backlash. Our third story highlights the absolute darkest side of this engagement machine. Rachna, who's widely known online as Santoor Mom, actually built a really trusted brand on wholesome family vlogs, pulling in a very respectable 1 lakh views. However, when she began posting deeply concerning videos with her own son, featuring sexually suggestive setups, we're talking bathroom settings and seductive music, her views exploded to 1.1 million. The system heavily and dangerously incentivized the sexualization of a minor just for clicks. But the very algorithm that elevated her ultimately destroyed her. First, that shift to suggestive content brought severe legal consequences. A real FIR was filed against her for making obscene content involving her minor son. Then, the internet's vulgarity machine came in to finish the job. On January 9th, 2026, Rachna became the top training search in all of India because of a massive nationwide MMS scandal. Allegations of a 19-minute video just spread like wildfire overnight. But the catch: there is zero credible evidence the video ever even existed. It was entirely fueled by deepfakes, AI misattribution, and clickbait. The system demanded rage and shock, and when it couldn't get it organically, it literally just fabricated a scandal to feed the audience. Act 2. The disease. The macroeconomic root of the rage economy. So, to understand these drastic algorithmic pressures, we really have to look at the macroeconomic root of the rage economy, and it all started with a single number: 9 cents. This is the infamous geo effect. Back in 2016, the launch of Reliance Jio triggered a massive price war that crashed mobile data costs in India by 95%. The cost of a gigabyte of data plummeted to just 9 cents, making it among the cheapest rates in the entire world. This wasn't just a telecom milestone, guys. It was the spark that ignited an entirely new digital ecosystem. The result of that cheap data was nothing short of explosive. India's internet user base more than doubled, ballooning to over 800 million users. Today, India is the single largest national audience for platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. This massive scale essentially turned the country into the world's ultimate engagement farm. While individual Indian views might be cheap to advertisers on paper, the sheer, staggering volume of these views drives algorithmic amplification on a massive global scale. And here is the crucial point. This environment breeds what researchers call the racket effect. When you have 800 million people scrolling, the market is incredibly saturated. To remain algorithmically relevant, honestly just to survive, each new generation of creators feels totally forced to be more extreme than the last. Going to extremes isn't an accident anymore. In the attention economy, it is a strictly rational economic choice. Normalcy is skipped. Provocation is paid. Because at the end of the day, the algorithm pays for retention. Platform monetization models are completely sentiment agnostic. They literally do not care if you are watching out of admiration or out of pure fury. High arousal narratives, things like betrayal and revenge content, command massive premiums, peaking at a revenue per mil or RPM of $12.82. That far exceeds the payout for neutral, educational, or wholesome content. Outrage is quite literally the most profitable business model on the internet today. Act 3, the flashpoint, when digital vulgarity breaches the real world. Okay, so we've seen exactly how the economics work, but what happens when this perfectly tuned engagement machine clashes with institutional boundaries? Well, in February 2025, a wildly popular YouTube talent show called India's Got Latent, hosted by comedian Samay Raina, released a bonus episode. During this episode, one of India's most successful and prominent creators, Ranveer Alabadia, also known as BeerBiceps, posed a highly graphic, obscene hypothetical question to a contestant regarding their parents. It was a remark entirely designed for maximum shock value, basically a perfect piece of bait for the rage economy. The fallout from this built into a nationwide crisis with terrifying speed. Let's look at the timeline. February 9th, the episode airs. The very next day, February 10th, the backlash is so intense that FIRs are filed by police in both Mumbai and Assam against Alabadia and other influencers who were present. By February 11th, YouTube removes the video following a government directive, and within weeks, by March 3rd, the situation had escalated all the way to the Supreme Court of India. The Supreme Court ultimately allowed Alabadia to resume his shows, but only under strict conditions of maintaining decency and morality. However, the court's impartial observation on the matter was stark. They stated on the record, "There is something that is dirty in his mind that has been vomited by way of this program." This quote perfectly encapsulates the friction we've been discussing today. You have the Indian judiciary trying to uphold legal and societal standards of decency, colliding head-on with an algorithm that financially rewards the exact opposite. What we are looking at here is a deeply broken system that has created a threefold crisis. First, economic desperation. Creators feel they absolutely must be provocative to secure life-changing brand deals and subscriptions. Second, a massive social conditioning effect. Constant exposure to dark jokes and extreme content is actually shifting the moral judgment of the next generation, completely normalizing toxic perceptions. And third, the real-world consequences. The blurred lines between a digital persona and reality lead to fires, public harassment, deepfake scandals, and severe institutional legal battles. And this is exactly why this matters to you. The platforms dictating these norms aren't just shaping content creators. They are shaping the moral boundaries of the digital world we all log into every single day. Conclusion: the accountability void. We have built an unprecedented digital infrastructure that monetizes our attention by hacking our deepest, most visceral emotions. The human cost, from creators pushed to the extreme just to survive, to innocent people targeted by entirely fabricated outrage, is mounting every single day. So I want to leave you with this final critical thought. When the underlying code of our platforms is built to reward shock, vulgarity, and rage, is it the creator just desperately chasing a livelihood? Is it the massive tech platforms actively monetizing the fury? Or is it us, the audience, who just keep scrolling? When the algorithm rewards shock, who is actually responsible?